Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session 3 of the Geo Institute Masterclass series on management, specialization in marketing or finance. We begin this series with session 1, Finance for the Digital Age by Professor 𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗲𝗂, followed by session 2, Product Management in the AI Era by Ms. 𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗁. She was from Microsoft. Continuing this journey today with the session 3, topic Impact of AI in Business. This session explores how AI is driving data-led business, innovation, and transforming organizations through enhanced customer leadership and long-term competitive growth. We are honored to welcome Dr. Kiran Pedada, the Associate Fellow in Marketing and Inclusive Business and Assistant Professor at the Asper School of Business, University of Manitoba, Canada. Dr. Pedada research focus on marketing strategy, digital transformation, and sustainability. He previously served as an assistant professor at the ISB, Indian School of Business, where he was twice voted Teacher of the Year and he taught the Goldman Sachs 10,000 plus Women Ambassador Program. Over to you, Dr. Pedada, and welcome for the today's session.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Welcome, everyone. Very good evening. Shall I share my slides? I have a deck of slides. Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
yes, sir. We can start with the slides.
Yeah. So, can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. The screen is visible.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So, yeah, welcome to the session. In this session, I would like to talk about the impact of AI in business, especially focusing on how companies can actually leverage AI to create and deliver better value to consumers and other stakeholders. So before we actually look at some of the frameworks, let me actually share some recent talk about AI and investments in AI. About few weeks ago, Google announced its the largest investment in data centers outside the United States in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. So they are actually planning to invest $15 billion. And similarly, other large companies such as Microsoft, NVIDIA, so they have been actually spending a lot of money in AI for the last several years, right? And a recent article by Wall Street, it actually suggests that this particular kind of spending in infrastructure of AI is worrisome, right? And another article by 𝗂𝗵𝗫𝗀𝗃 that actually talks about the $600 billion question. Essentially, given the kind of enormous investment that is going into AI infrastructure, what they actually predict is that companies need to generate at least $600 billion every year to sustain that kind of infrastructure spending, right? So another article by Goldman Sachs that actually talks about are we spending too much on Gen AI with too little benefit, right? So how can we essentially monetize Gen AI? And a few years ago, McKinsey came up with a report that actually talks about how several digital transformations, not just AI, but other digital transformations, including robotics, automation, and blockchain, etc. So what they suggested is that 70% of all these digital transformations fail to meet their objectives. And another Gartner survey, they found that only 48% meet who are doing digital transformation meet their targets or exceed their targets, right? There has been a lot of buzz around AI, and companies have been investing tremendously in AI infrastructure. But when it comes to returns, I think we are still not seeing much benefit of AI as of now, based on all these reports. Let me ask you a question. You might want to actually share your. Uh, I'm not sure whether they can share any thoughts on this, but uh,
They
uh,
can might type in the Q&A section with their thoughts.
right, yeah. So why do you think most companies are actually failing to leverage AI transformation? Any thoughts?
Participants, you can type in using Q&A section. One
Yeah,
person wrote,
excellent. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. So the expectations are very high, but the kind of investments that we are making, we are not leveraging AI fully to gain the benefits, right? So I think one could be, the cross-functional collaboration that is needed. I completely agree with you because these kind of AI transformations need a tremendous cross-functional collaboration. Not having a digital mindset, right? So I think having the right kind of digital mindset is very, very important. And some companies are incumbents; they are very late into digitalization. I completely agree. Wonderful point. And lack of clear purpose. You're right. AI without a strategy is meaningless, right? So if you really want to leverage AI, so you need to start with strategy. Why do you want to use AI? Okay, how do you want to actually create and deliver value using AI, right? And our recent research also suggests that cultural alignment is very, very important. For example, legacy companies struggle to really introduce AI because of lack of digital readiness, as Purval rightly pointed out. And not knowing how to apply it correctly and efficiently. You're right. So many companies actually, they are jumping on the bandwagon without really understanding how we can leverage AI for, again, better value creation and value delivery, right? Okay, so coming to why these are all excellent answers, and wrong prompting. You're right. I mean, in general, when it comes to Gen AI, we are unable to leverage it properly because of wrong prompting. Yeah, I agree. So these are all excellent thoughts. Um, um, yeah, so traditional business environment, we are not very sure how to actually use it, right? So, and companies struggle because of insufficient data infrastructure, you're right, and lack of, the managerial skills to manage this data and data management capabilities, and lack of leadership buy-in. I completely agree. I mean, many companies are actually worrying about these kind of AI investments. They're a bit careful before they're essentially investing in AI, right? So these are all fantastic comments. So let me actually share some of the reasons. I mean, I'm trying to just summarize the comments that you have mentioned. So one is the biggest reason is that the efficiency trap, right? So companies actually have been using AI, but they're only focusing on cost reductions. So by focusing a lot on cost reduction, we cannot really, create and deliver value. So to really leverage AI, we need to create new products, create new ways of actually delivering customer value, deliver superior customer experience, and find new ways of doing things, right? So we are not essentially using AI to create and deliver value. So as of now, AI has been focused a lot on efficiency or cost reduction. And second thing is that as Steve Jobs once rightly pointed out, um, if we actually take a technology first approach, right? So we can come up with great technology, but it might not have the right uses for the right people, right? So instead of actually focusing on technology first approach or a technocentric approach, if we focus on a customer centric approach, if we start from the customer, trying to understand what problems that they're facing, and accordingly we can come up with the solution. So based on the problem, can we actually leverage AI to solve this problem, right? As one of the participants mentioned, start with a purpose, okay? If you start with a purpose or a strategy, I think AI could be better leveraged, right? And I think someone has a question, somebody raised their hand. Maybe we can keep the Q&A towards the end. So I'll be
Yes,
happy
sir.
to
We will
answer.
have Q&A at the end, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And another thing, as I mentioned, is like jumping on the bandwagon, right? So several companies are actually trying to use it without a clear purpose or a strategy. So they're trying to jump on the bandwagon. So leveraging AI as a shiny wrapper, for example, adding a AI feature without really understanding how it is actually helping consumers solve problems, right? So these are and another challenge is that uh, no clear monetization path. Like I have shown you a few reports. For example, how generative AI can be monetized better, right? So most companies actually who are investing in AI or who are trying to leverage AI, so they don't have a clear monetization path. Only 5 to 10% of companies have figured out how to bridge the investment revenue gap. Okay, let me show you a few examples. So the solution is for all these problems is that you need to figure out how to monetize AI better, right? To actually monetize AI better, the monetization equation looks like leveraging data, the AI technology, and new business model all together to create and deliver value to your customers. So essentially, all these three elements must work together. So let me show you a few examples. Now, have you heard of a company called Pinduoduo? So Pinduoduo is a Chinese company which actually which is giving Amazon, Alibaba, and large e-commerce companies run for their money. Pinduoduo actually was started by Mr. Huang in 2016. So what he understood is that in China, 50% of the mobile phone users, they never shopped online. Okay, so and he was intrigued by that particular phenomenon, that how come a large amount of people who have mobile phones but never shopped online. Okay, and he did a little bit of research, and he understood that most of these people who never used mobile phones for shopping, online shopping, they live in either tier 3 or tier 4 cities. And the decisions, of buying things are primarily taken by the women in the families, and they don't generally buy things like electronics, fashion goods, etc., online, but they want to actually buy things like fresh produce, like tomatoes, etc., right? So, and the fourth thing that he understood is that these people actually, when they buy things, they buy in groups. For example, think about going to a mandi and buying it, right? So, or going to a mall, like, essentially in emerging markets, you tend to sort of buy in groups, right? So before starting Pinduoduo, he understood the customers and their problems very deeply. And then he came up with this idea that can we actually sort of come up with a social e-commerce platform called Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo, it translates to buy more in groups, right? Instead of, like, searching strategy that is used in Amazon and all, he used a treasure hunt strategy, right? So, for example, just like in Instagram, you're trying to sort of scroll and finding more and more reels, etc. So that's the kind of experience that Pinduoduo created, and they gamified this entire shopping experience to drive engagement. For example, there are things like spin wheel. You can do the spin wheel, and if you get some points, that can be used to buy some products, and also things like if one person is buying a product will cost 100 rupees. But if multiple people are coming together and are buying, the product will cost you only 60 rupees, right? So you're essentially getting a 40% discount, right? And they also integrated social e-commerce with WeChat, which is like very popularly used the social media platform in China, right? So they essentially challenged Alibaba in China and disrupted Amazon even globally through their brand called Temu, which is actually making a big splash in North America as well, right? And the second example, which actually leveraged AI, some of you talked about legacy companies, right? They have a resistance and all. I completely agree with you. But Microsoft, although it's a legacy company, they actually quickly sort of moved from a sort of a Windows-centric company to a cloud-first company that actually really improved their revenues from, I would say, $300 billion to, I think 10 times they have improved, right? So they gained tremendously from Azure AI service, the cloud, and recently partnership with AI and moving to a subscription-based business model. They have really transformed themselves, right? And you might not have heard of this brand. It's a new startup. It started, I think, about 10 years ago. It's called Taylor Brands. Many companies actually, to create logos or websites, etc., large companies especially, they have to spend significant amount of money. And there are so many small and medium enterprises. Like, I would say more than 90% of the enterprises in the world are small and medium enterprises, which are actually what Taylor Brands found that they are underserved. Can we do something for these small and medium enterprises? So they started actually leveraging AI to generate logos in minutes, right? So they came up with a freemium model. The basic model is free, but if you really want a subscription, you can actually get subscription for about $4 to $10 per month, based on the kind of features that you're getting. And they have really revolutionized this logo and brand design. And nowadays, they also expanded their services into like pretty much everything that you need to start a business, right? So to set up an LLP or to sort of hire people and create websites and most of the needs they are taken care of, right? So, what are some trends impacting AI in business? The rise of algorithmic shopping, right? So, like think about all the online shopping that we do. Most of the recommendations that we get are essentially AI driven. Even streaming services like Netflix, etc. So the recommendations are based on the data, based on the data that they have about us, the past data they provide future recommendations, right? And even subscription-based auto replenishment, etc. These kind of services are picking up, right? And nomadic consumers. Most consumers in the last, thanks to COVID, people have become more asset-light. Nowadays, instead of actually buying cars, people are preferring to sort of rent cars instead of buying homes. And they understood that buying homes is like extremely expensive, so they think that rather buying home, let's rent a home and lead a comfortable life and all, right? So you're instead of buying appliances, you're essentially renting appliances and all, right? So and most people are actually working from home or working from anywhere essentially. In other words, they're prioritizing flexibility and experiences over ownership, right? And life is also essentially gamified. I just gave an example of Pinduoduo, how they are essentially gamifying the shopping experiences and this dopamine design in every app. Like you're scrolling and trying to find more and more and things like that. So these things are also some of the changes that are happening when it comes to consumer behavior, right? And most people, I think, post COVID, they have become more wellness conscious, right? So therefore, there is a lot of interest and also a focus on preventive wellness, mental health, improving immunity, etc. So wellness is essentially embedded into pretty much every category, organic products, organic drinks, and the home designs and everything, and apparels, etc. You're focusing on wellness aspect, right? So all these trends, they can really have tremendous impact on how companies can essentially leverage AI to, again, create and deliver better value to their consumers, right? So, for example, companies are already leveraging AI to do that. If we take Unilever, they are using natural language processing and social listening. So social listening is very very helpful because all of us create a lot of text out there through our reviews and also video testimonials, audio, etc. So you can leverage machine learning techniques like natural language processing and identify emerging customer segments, emerging product trends, and accordingly come up with new products. Like for example, they launched this aluminum-free deodorant recently, right? And Netflix, they have a lot of data about us, like what we have been viewing, etc. So they predict the content based on predictive analytics. And also, accordingly, they segment the customers and all. For example, they recently invested heavily in Korean dramas and regional content, right? So, and similarly, companies like L'Oreal, they are using computer vision, sentiment analysis to discover beauty trends and come up with new products. Amazon actually has been using AI tremendously, and even companies like Zara, etc. So many companies have started leveraging AI, but most companies, except for like a few companies, large companies, several companies are actually struggling to understand how we can leverage AI better. To understand how we can leverage AI better, we came up with a framework. We have co-authored a book called Winning in the Age of AI. I would encourage you to read that book. Kindle version is available on Amazon. Winning in the Age of AI by Ashish Sinha and our other co-authors. So where we actually talk about this framework in detail, which can actually help companies to leverage AI better to create and deliver superior value to their customers, right? Coming to this AI transformation framework, as you can see here, it has a 2 by 2 matrix, and in the first quadrant, most companies are actually using new technologies for their old business models. Companies like Ford, Walmart, IBM, etc. They are using emerging technologies such as AI, but they are not essentially changing their business models, right? So these are called, like, efficiency, because they're focusing on leveraging AI for efficiency, cost reduction, etc. Right? Incumbents which have failed to leverage digital transformation, they are actually out of the business, right? Because they were using old technology with an old business model, right? For example, Kodak, Nokia, BlackBerry, etc. So there are entrepreneurs who are actually using old technologies to come up with new business model. For example, there is a wine brand called Yellowtail. It's an Australian wine brand. So they came up with new business models, in the sense that they started focusing on new customer segments like non-wine drinkers. Okay, so they came up with a new wine for these people who are starting to drink wine, or who have never had wine and all, right? And the fourth quadrant, which is the most important quadrant, I would say that is the AI a transformation quadrant, right? So companies which are actually leveraging new technologies to come up with new business models, right? For example, Airbnb, or Netflix, right? Uber, Amazon, Pinduoduo. So these companies are actually leveraging AI to come up with new business models, and create and deliver value not only to the existing customer segments, but also future customer segments, right? Okay. So for companies, what they can do is, they can actually do this quadrant mapping. So the first and foremost thing that they need to do is that, where do we stand in this particular 4 quadrant framework, right? Are we an incumbent, or an efficiency, an entrepreneur, or growth and digital transformation? I found that I have actually asked executives to actually do this assessment, and surprisingly, many companies found themselves to be either in the efficiency quadrant, or incumbent quadrant, right? Because they have not really, even companies that started using new technology, but they have not really figured out how they can leverage new business models, right? Okay. So this is like, for AI monetization, essentially, to get into that fourth quadrant, companies need to actually focus on a few things. One is what data we already have. Okay, are we really collecting the right kind of data, and how we are storing that data? And data is not just like, the quantitative data. okay, which is structured data. But there is so much unstructured data also out there, which is in the form of text, video, audio, and it could be also in the form of, like, sort of feelings, etc. So if we can sort of um, uh, um, store that kind of data, and we can leverage that data using AI, right? So once you understand what data we already have, then you can understand what kind of emerging technologies that we can use to leverage that data, and what new business model can emerge using with this combination of data and AI. Then you can think about what is the monetization logic, right? Think about Pinduoduo, for example. So they have created a lot of data about their customers, like shoppers, right? And they leverage predictive analytics to kind of make recommendations to their customers, right? And all these customers are essentially the new business model that they created is that they focused on a segment that was never targeted by any other existing companies like Alibaba, okay, JD.com in China, right? Okay, so and they came up with a monetization logic. Like, for example, you kind of make more money by making them buy more and more, essentially in groups, right? So that's the kind of logic, right? And so this is the framework. Essentially, you're trying to create a solid data infrastructure in the company. That can be leveraged, with AI to generate new insights, and that could actually help you to come up with new business models. Okay, so the new business model will be either create new value in the sense that you're developing new products that have never been there earlier, or you're trying to deliver new value. In other words, you're actually reaching the customers through new channels, okay, and or you're actually providing superior customer experience that they have never actually experienced earlier, right? So companies that actually think from this aspect, like, customer centric, right? You're trying to understand what problems are they facing, and you're thinking about leveraging AI from creating and delivering value. In other words, developing new products, okay, or making creating new channels to reach your customers, or creating new customer experiences. So that's what customer facing, supply chain, and innovation. So when you can do this, you can actually appropriate the value better. In other words, it can reduce the gap between the infrastructure investments and the revenues related to AI, right? Okay, so because it will actually help you to serve your existing customers better, because they get superior customer experience. Think about Netflix, for example, or you can really sort of create a new segments altogether, like Pinduoduo, like 50% of the Chinese market that never used um, uh, online shopping, they suddenly started using it, right? Okay. So coming to the kind of capabilities that you need to build, as some of you have rightly pointed out. So the data related capabilities and model building capabilities are very, very important. Companies need to actually invest in building these capabilities, right? So companies can either invest in-house capabilities, or they can actually acquire companies. So many companies, like, essentially the legacy companies like Walmart, etc. So they started actually acquiring small AI startups, etc. To build their data and model building capabilities, right? And in addition to these things, managerial capabilities are also very, very important. So how you can, these managerial capabilities actually are related to coming up with strategies to leverage the data and the right kind of tools that can actually help you to, again, come up with these kind of, what do you call, new business models related to innovation and supply chain and customer relationship management, right? So when you do this over a period of time, you build market-based assets. In other words, market-based capabilities. So these market-based capabilities are intangible assets, right? Think about Coca-Cola, for example, right? So for Coca-Cola, the brand itself is a huge asset, right? Apple, okay, IBM. So these are all like huge brands. The brand itself is worth several billion dollars, essentially, right? So that's an intangible asset. You create an intangible asset only when you understand your customers better and develop the products that will increase their customer experiences, right? So when you develop intangible assets that will lead to competitive advantage and better cash flows and better shareholder value, right? So I just wanted to summarize the key takeaways from this session. So the first thing is that organizations must align their AI adoption with innovative business models to bridge the gap between technological investments and meaningful returns. Unless and until they think about leveraging data and AI to create innovative business models, essentially to create and deliver better value to customers, they can't actually reduce this gap, essentially, right? And focus on exponential growth, as we talked about Pinduoduo. They leveraged AI and data capabilities to create new business models to unlock exponential growth. They grew like 250 times in about 6 to 7 years. That actually surprised a lot of these very established e-commerce companies, right? And many companies actually they either don't have a way to sort of leverage their existing data or to kind of create and store the new data, right? So for that, you need to invest in data infrastructure in organizations, invest in these advanced modeling capabilities and managerial capabilities that can actually help companies to think about coming up with these um, new business models, right? Okay. So how AI can be leveraged in organizations? It can be leveraged for innovation, to accelerate product development, predict customer needs, and come up with new offerings for emerging customers. And it can be actually leveraged in supply chain management, which has been many companies are actually doing already for efficiency and cost reduction, and also customer relationship management for personalization and improve customer experience, right? So customer centricity is key. So when companies actually start thinking from a technology centric to a customer centric approach, I think then they start realizing the potential of AI. Okay. So with that, I will end my presentation and I'll open up for questions. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
All okay, sir?
Yeah. All well. So I opened up for questions. Yeah. So I think I'll take a few questions. Yeah.
Sure. You want me to read out for you?
So I can see the questions. I'll actually, yeah, take up these
Okay, sir.
questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, one of the questions is about how pharmaceutical companies can use AI for marketing, right? Okay. Pharmaceutical companies are using AI. Not just pharmaceutical companies. Many companies can use AI for marketing. Like you said, you can use AI to analyze customer data. Okay. Earlier, it used to take a lot of time to analyze customer data. Whether it is a structured data, like for example, the quantitative data, or even qualitative data, like the reviews, product reviews, and everything, right? So you can do it in hours, okay, instead of taking days and all, right? So analyzing customer data has become much simpler, and you can also create like marketing campaigns, marketing promotional content, etc. So that has become much easier leveraging AI, right? Okay. So also, yeah. Any real life examples where AI has completely transformed a business or industry? I think AI is definitely, I mean, without really our uh, we noticing it. I think AI has already started transforming a lot of businesses. For example, I would say e-commerce and social media itself, right? So think about like how we most of us are glued to let's say for example Instagram, right? Or Meta, Facebook. So they are leveraging AI to give us personal recommendations, and they're actually for them the biggest asset is our attention. Okay, and uh, so let me also take a few other questions. How can AI-driven personalization balance between this is fantastic question actually, right? So privacy is a very, very big concern, right? I mean, it is still not very clear, like, the privacy is like a very, very big concern. But there are already some privacy regulations such as GDPR, um, the uh, Global Data Regulation Protection Act, Protection Regulation Act. So these kind of acts are actually trying to protect privacy of consumers, and most countries, including India, are actually coming up with these privacy regulations. I think those things should take care of it. But yeah, this is like a very sort of a um, I think a lot of work needs to be done in that area, right? And how can B2B contract manufacturers leverage AI-driven marketing? I think again excellent question. When it comes to B2B contract manufacturers, right? So if you have I think leveraging generative AI, you can start with generative AI, for example, to create marketing communications, okay, to develop better websites, okay. And Most companies actually don't, especially B2B, small and medium enterprises, I found that they don't leverage digital properly. I think now with generative AI, creating content and analyzing your customers, if you have customers' data and all, like you said, predictive analytics. So those things are uh, very, very helpful, right? So I think, and if we want to build a tech first startup, what are the places where we should focus first? I think the most important thing is whenever you want to build a startup, it should actually come from you should start with a purpose in the sense that why do you want to uh, develop what we are actually developing, right? So if you start with why rather than what, I think we'll be able to come up with sort of better startups. So it should come from like a very I think you need to have a very strong reason why do you want to build what you want to build, right? So if you start with a purpose rather than just watching market trends, I think that will actually um, help you to come up with a better AI related startup, right? So yeah, so actually, nowadays, thanks to generative AI, so coding has become like a sort of it's not a skill anymore, right? Because uh, ChatGPT can code things very quickly, right? So that actually, so essentially, generative AI democratized this, right? People, even without a technical and AI background, you can still leverage generative AI. So I do it, and most of us actually leverage these generative AI platforms such as um, uh, ChatGPT, right? Okay. So AI is actually changing traditional marketing strategies very significantly, as I mentioned, especially when it comes to digital campaigns. Uh, People are leveraging content creation and now, answer engine optimization, right? So leveraging generative AI to so optimize uh, the content that is shown to your potential customers. So that has answer engine optimization has been picking up. And so do manufacturing units can adopt AI to reduce the manual intervention? Yeah, absolutely. Quality inspection is helpful. So there is a company, I mean, that unfortunately that had to close down called Bossa. They started, developing robotics for better inventory management in the retail space. And Walmart was their first and only customer. They actually adopted these robots for about 1,000 stores, but unfortunately, they did not see much value in using robotics for better inventory management. So they had to cancel that particular contract. But definitely, if we, the most important thing is that we need to identify all the tasks which can be, which are potential candidates for implementing AI. I think like quality inspection is a great area where AI can be uh, implemented. Right? And most of the consumers, they don't believe in AI, and how companies are going. Yeah, so essentially, consumers believing in AI is very different from companies leveraging the consumer data and AI to create better experiences, right? Okay, so I think you're talking more from things like these chatbots, etc. I mean, these days there is some research that is going on for what kind of tasks, for example, chatbots are more helpful, and what kind of applications they are not very helpful. So I see your point. Like if people think that AI is actually interacting with them, recently there is some research that is done on marketing communication using chat GPT content versus manual content, and people sort of responded to manual content much better than chat GPT content, right? That is because they understood, they realized that the content was created by AI, which they did not really appreciate, right? So I see that point when it comes to marketing campaigns and all. So therefore, human intervention is very, very important. If you want to completely replace human intervention in some of the areas where it is absolutely needed. So I think then companies tend to have problems. But otherwise, AI is not just used in, like, customer facing activities. There are so many other areas, as we talked about, like, leveraging data for better personal recommendations, etc. Do you think is it still important to learn language like Python? Yes, absolutely. I think it's important because how do you know that AI is actually giving you the right code, right? So to actually, so when you know Python and also leverage Python, leverage AI to code better, I think that's the best combination. I think so. I think AI is not a sort of a replacement, honestly. It complements our skill. So therefore, if you can learn these languages and then complement it with AI, I think that is like a great combination. But people who never coded and who doesn't have that background in coding, etc., they can still leverage AI as well. But if you already have coding knowledge and then leverage AI, I think that's the best combination. Mm. So, how to know which skill will be best and the content I'm getting, it has originality of latest tech. So essentially, it's important for us to keep abreast of what's happening in the world. As you rightly said, AI is evolving very quickly. So you need to keep up. So please read Gartner reports. Okay, they are like, they provide very helpful information, reports by McKinsey, etc. And there is one MIT Sloan Management Review where they talk about the latest trends in AI. So I think these are quite helpful to understand the trends better. And in real estate field, how to use AI? That's a good question. Again, I think sort of you have a lot of data about your customers in real estate, right? Who is coming, what are their demographic backgrounds, and if you have information about their psychographics, right? For example, things like why are they buying, what do they buy? So if you have information you have information on your customers, so that can be analyzed much better now. So, for example, for your customer segmentation. So that will help us to come up with the right kind of products for them, like whether they are looking for what kind of apartments are they looking for, and to design new apartments and for pricing, okay, and the kind of locations that they're looking for. So much can be done using AI in real estate as well. So one is analyzing for market research, the customer data and all. The second one, as I mentioned, you can create content, all your sort of marketing materials, and they can be created leveraging AI, right? And also, let me take uh, a few more questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have I think 5 minutes left. So I'm a B Pharmacy student. Actually, my wife also did B Pharmacy. So what kind of skills should I learn if I want to build a career that connects business with AI? I think I would recommend you to do an MBA or the PGP program. I think that will actually help you to pivot into business and learn more about how AI can be leveraged in business. So that would be a good pathway for people who want to, um, be, who want to work in business leveraging AI. And yeah, is there any scope for AI in manufacturing? I think, yeah, definitely. There is tremendous scope for AI in manufacturing, especially for efficiency, like, for example, quality control, inventory management, etc., as we were talking about. And AI can be used in manufacturing, again, to build better relationship with your customers. You can, if you have customer data, as I mentioned earlier, you can leverage your customer data better, understand your customer pain points better, and understand, your international, if you have international customers, for example, you can segment them better, and you can develop, sort of customized products for them. I think AI can be definitely used to do market research. If you are entering a new market, you can leverage generative AI to do market research for you, and you can create again the marketing materials and all using generative AI. So AI can be used both in manufacturing as well as I would say marketing and other functional related areas, even in manufacturing setups, right? I think I pretty much took mm, all of the questions or most of the questions,
Almost all the questions, sir.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think we can end the Q&A session here. And I would like to thank you, sir, for sparing time and give your 1 hour. And it is very insightful because people were engaged. They have asked a lot of questions which were there in their mind, and they definitely have got benefit out of this session. We will share the session recording with all the participants. Thank you, participants, for joining today's session. And we will have more two sessions such today's topic in coming few days. Thank you so much, Dr. Kiran, for once again for this particular masterclass.
Yeah, thank you very much. And if you have further questions, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I am available on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to connect with you there. And thank you once again for hosting this session. And thanks everyone for attending and for your wonderful questions and interaction.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
See
much,
you.
sir. Thank you, all the participants.